Hey, what's up, Camp Nerd fans? This is Ian here in the camp, and what we're going to be doing today is, first off, this is a brand new year, and within this brand new year, we're going to be adding some pretty cool things to the channel and custom building user controls and things like that. And what I mean by custom user controls is we are going to be building a circular progress bar, and with this circular progress bar you will be able to get a lot of different things as far as monitors with the CPU, GPU. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just opening up to kind of give you an idea of what this circular progress bar is going to look like. If you've seen my tutorial with WinForms with the circular progress bar, you would have noticed that that was being used to get the CPU usage, the RAM usage, and things like that. Now, that is what we're going to be doing today, and that is the circular progress bar and what we're going to be doing today. And I'm kind of off focus because I've moved everything around and I do not have my green screen up or anything like that. But to show you what I'm talking about with the circular progress bar, since I have it up now, I can actually speak clearly. This is the circular progress bar that we are going to be building. Okay, now we'll be pulling the CPU usage from there, and then if we get enough likes on this video and enough comments, then I will show you how to go into the WMI portion to get everything about your processor, such as the voltage, the current and max clock speed, the system type, the CPU description, the cores, and things like that. Okay, so now let's get into this. And what you want to do is you want to bring up a new Visual Studio, and within this Visual Studio you're going to create a WPF application. And wherever you have it, if you're doing this for the first time, you can just create a folder and put it in there, but I've got the set to just a basic tutorial folder so I know where this is at. And then of course it's going to be WPF. You can name it whatever you want, and then it's going to be a .NET Framework 4.7.2, and then we're going to click on OK. All right, now there's going to be a few things when the project comes up. We're going to have to add a reference to the drawing.dll through blend, which is expression. So what we're going to do is we are going to do that right now. So let's go to your Solution Explorer, right click on your references, add a reference, and then you're going to reference this right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on Browse, and then we're going to go to this PC and then your Windows, Program Files, x86. Okay, then you're going to come down to Microsoft SDKs, and then you are going to go to Expression, which is right here, Blend, .NET Framework version 4.0, Libraries. And then right here, this is what you want to reference, the Microsoft.expression.drawing.dll, and you're going to add that. And then once you add it and click OK, you'll see that it's added over here. All right, so now we have our main grid in the window. So in order to get this to where we need it to be, we're going to add a user control. So right click on your project, go to add, and then user control. And you can name this whatever you want. I am going to name this Radial Progress Bar, like so. Okay, then we are going to add that. And now, as you can see over here in your Solution Explorer, you have a radial progress bar. All right, now within this radial progress bar, there's a few things that we want to do. First thing is we want to change the size to 300 by 300, and that'll give you a basic size. You can expand that out a little bit if you want, like so. So just a good size to where you can see it. Now what we need to do is we need to reference, and I'm just going to get this to where it fits all of it. So what we need to do is we need to reference the namespace. So it's going to be the XMNLS, and then this is going to be the ED equals, ED as in education, and it is going to be HTTP, and then it's going to be colon // schemas.microsoft.com / expression / 2010 / drawing. Okay, and what this does is you'll notice that the namespace prefix in my part is not defined because I put XMNL. It should be XMLNS, so that corrects that problem right there. Okay, so now we have that reference. We need to reference a few more things. So what we're going to do is we are going to put an X name, and that X name is going to be underscore this. And we're going to be using that for the binding portion here in just a little bit. Okay, so now in your grid, what you want is you want to add an ellipse, like so. All right, now within this ellipse, you are going to put an X name because we're going to be referencing this when we do the binding here in just a few minutes. And this is going to be background. And then we're going to go ahead and put in the binding portion of it, and we'll get to that here in just a second to the actual code to bind it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put binding, and then it's going to be the element name, and it's going to be this, which is what we just referenced. And then you want to put a comma, then you're going to put path, and this is going to equal background brush. Okay, and we are going to add the background brush portion when we get to the code over here. So don't worry about is it showing an error. All right, next we need to put a margin. Okay, let me come back just for a second. So let's go over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a margin of 0, and then we're going to put a stroke, and then we're just going to put this as blue, so it gives you that blue outline for the stroke. Now, as you can see, it's a blue. You can change it to whatever color you want. So now what we need to do is we need to add ED for education, and this is going to be an arc. And within this arc, we're going to put an X name, and it's going to be called indicator. And then we're going to put an arc thickness, and this arc thickness is going to be 8, and you can pretty much put the thickness as you want, 8, 10. The higher the number that you go, the more of that arc is going to be. But for this, what we have, 8 is going to be excellent with that. And so now we need to put what it is. So arc thickness unit is going to equal pixel. Okay, so now we have the next part of this is going to be a binding, which is the end and start angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the end angle first. So end angle, and we're just go ahead and put the binding in here. So it's going to be binding, and it's going to be converter, and then this is going to be a static resource. So static resource, and then this is going to be value to angle, and we're going to get to that in the code over here, so just don't worry about that error right now. Okay, now we need to come outside of the curly bracket, and we are going to put a comma. So after that comma, we want to identify the element name. So the element name is going to be underscore this, and then we need to put a path. So path is going to equal value. Okay, now we have the binding path for the end angle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the fill. So fill equals, and the fill is also going to be a binding. Okay, so this is going to be binding, and then it's going to be element name. All right, so let me see where my error is coming in at right here. So what we're going to do, let's take this out to see if I can get this error. We need to put give me just a second. Let's take that out. So to kind of look at everything to see what we have right here. So that is going to be the value, and we need to add that right there. Okay, now we can do the fill. So the fill equals, and then this is going to be a binding as well, and we'll get to that here in just a second. And then we're going to put a stretch, all right, so let's go ahead and do the fill portion. So let me go back over here. We need to add that. So that's what's giving us that problem right there. So we're going to put stretch, and then this is going to be none. And then the start angle is going to equal 0. Now, within this fill, it is going to be a binding element. So binding element name, and it is going to be this. And then we need to add a path, indicator brush, which is we will get to the indicator brush in the code here in just a few moments. All right, now to complete this portion right here, we need to add another ellipse. So ellipse, and within this ellipse, we're going to give it an X name. And this is going to be border. And then we're going to put a fill, and then this is going to be binding as well. Element name, and then underscore this. And then it's going to be a path, and this is going to be progress border brush. Okay, and we're going to put a margin of 8. And then the stroke is going to be blue. Give me just a second here. So it's going to be a margin, and then we're going to put the stroke. And then this is going to be blue, like so. Now, as you can see, let me zoom in on this so you can see what I am talking about. If you notice, you have 2 lines right here. If you want to do a margin thickness of, say, 20, it'll give you that margin thickness. But I am doing 8, and that'll give you an idea of what we will be doing here shortly as for the look. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the actual coding part, and we're going to reference all these codes that we have put for the binding. So within your class, you need to add a few things. So this is going to be a public static read-only, and this is going to be a dependency property. It's going to be indicator brush equals, and then it's going to be a dependency property dot register, and then it's going to be indicator brush. Okay, and this is going to be a type of brush and type of, and then here you want to put what you named it. So it's going to be radial progress bar. All right, and then we're just going to close that off like that. And then we're going to put public brush, and then this is going to be the indicator brush. And then we're going to come down to right here and we're going to put get. All right, as you see right here, it says the type radial progress bar already contains a definition for indicator brush. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to ignore that here just for a second. And we're going to go ahead and build this out. So this dot get value indicator brush property, like so, and then we're just going to come out and then we're going to close that off like that right there. All right, now it says it already has indicator, the indicator brush is already put in. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here and we're just going to look, and the X name for the arc is indicator. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the expression body, and if you notice, it kind of gives you a error, is still with an error. So what we're going to do is this right here is brush and then indicator. I have no idea what I did wrong, so give me just a second. I'm looking at some notes. Public sector read only, dependency property, indicator brush. Okay, this needs to be property, like so. All right, now what we need to do is we need to set, and then it is going to be this dot, and it's going to be set value, and then it's going to be the indicator brush, property, and then it's going to be the value, like so. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing for a couple of more times. So what you want to do, basically copy and paste to save time, and then we'll go and we'll fix it here in just a second. And then we need to do it one more time. Okay, so we have the first one set. Now if we go to the second one, this is going to be the background brush property, and then we're going to change this to background brush, and then we're going to change this to background brush, and then we're going to change this to background brush property, and then we're going to change this to background brush property, like so. And then when we move on to the next one, this is going to be the progress border brush. So progress border brush, and then we're going to name this progress border brush. Progress border brush. Progress border brush. And then we're going to name this the same thing. Progress border brush. All right, now as we move on down to the last one, this is going to be a little bit different, and this is going to be a value property. Like so. Now that value property, we will get to that here in just a second. So we need to put value, and then this is going to be a type of int, and then it's going to be the type of radial progress bar. So here we need to add this as a public int value, and then we need to return int, and then it's going to be this dot get value, and then value property. And then this is going to be the same thing as right here. It's going to be this dot set value, and then value property. Value property, and then it's going to be a value. Now, what we need to do is we need to come down below your initialized components, and we're going to reference the value converter. So value conversion type of, and then this is going to be int, and then we're going to put type of double, and then we're going to close that off like that. So let me make sure I have conversion value type of int, then type of double. All right, so now we need to come down, and we're going to put a public class value to angle, and we're going to reference it to the iValue converter. Now, to make this a little bit easier, instead of typing it out, I'm just going to implement the interface. And so now within this, we are going to have it to where it starts from your progress bar at the very, very top. That is considered 360/0. Now, if you go as the clock goes all the way around 1 to 12, you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through. So you got 0, 360. And to kind of show you what I'm talking about on this, let me bring up my paint. All right, so let me just kind of bring this out like this right here. All right, so you have your circular progress bar. All right, this is going to be 360, and I suck at writing like this right here. So this is going to be 360, 0. This point is going to be 90. This point is going to be 180. Okay, then this point is going to be 270, like so. All right, so this is your 90-degree angles, and your 0 is right here. This is where it's going to start, and that's how this progress bar is going to work. Now you can change it around and do the math where it starts at the bottom and goes all the way around. It just depends on how you want to do it. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to keep it easy and have it start at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to return a double, and then we are going to put an int, and then this is going to be a value, and it's going to be times 0.01, and then it is going to be times 360, and then we're going to close that off right there. And let me make sure I have enough. We need to add one more to right there, I believe. All right, return double, and then 2. All right, we need to have one more right there. Okay, so now we got that. All right, now what we need to do is we need to come down here, and we are going to return, and this is going to be the conversion back. So it's basically going to be itself divided by 360 times 100. So int, and then we're going to add a double, and then this is going to be value divided by 360, and then this is going to be times 100, like so. All right, so now we're going to save it. Now let's come back over here, and you're going to see these right here just for the moment, for the time being. But what we're going to do first is we're going to add our user control resource. So you want to add a user control dot resource. All right, now within this user control resource, you're going to add a local, and then this is going to be value to angle, and it's going to be an X key, and then it is going to be value to angle, like so. Okay, now in order for us to have this working correctly, we need to add an attribute name to this. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of that right there, and we are going to put in XMLNS, and then this is going to be local equals CLR, and then dash namespace, and then it is going to be dot, well, not dot, colon, and then WPF app1 app1. Okay, so now since we have that there, just to make sure, what we're going to do is we're going to build the solution. Okay, now we have a few things. All right, the closing tag for element is not found, so let's go ahead and get that. Oh, I did it wrong. Like that. All right, now what we need to do, we got to figure out why value to angle is not being referenced. All right, value to angle, I value converter. Just make sure we have everything over here from what all we need. Okay. Everything looks good over here. Everything looks good over here. All right, so now we can build the solution. And as you can see that it succeeded. So what we're going to fit all. All right, now, since we built it, we should be able to reference it in the actual project. So what we're going to do is we're going to save, and we're just going to close that out. And then we're just going to come over here to the main window, like so. And we're going to go to our toolbox. And then as you see right here, we have our radial progress bar. And you have your radial progress bar. Now, if we go over to the properties, all the binding that we done, if you go to the brush, you can see that you have the indicator brush. Let's just do a custom value, and let's do blue. All right, now the foreground, let's leave that black. And then we're going to change the actual window property background, and we're just do a custom expression, gray, gray. All right, gray, like so. Okay, so you see that we have that right here. So now what we are going to do is we're going to add in the CPU usage for this. So what we need to do is we need to give this an X name. And so this is going to be whatever you want to name your radial progress bar. So I'm just going to name this RPB CPU. Okay. All right. Now what we want to do is we want to come over to the code, and we're going to view the code. All right, so now we need to add a reference to the management. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on references, add reference. You're going to go to your assemblies, and you're going to come down and you're going to look for the management, system.management. You're going to click OK. All right, so over here, you're going to be using system.management. And that'll be for later on when we actually get into the referencing of the WMIs behind. And then we're also going to be using system.diagnostics. Okay, now what we're going to do first is we're just going to reference the Perfmon. Okay, so it's going to be performance counter perf CPU equals new performance counter, and then we're just going to close that off. So we need to add a few things in here, and this is going to be processor information. This is going to be percent processor time and this is going to be total. Okay, and we're going to want this to be on a timer. So we're going to create a timer event, system.windows.threading.dispatcher timer, and then this is going to be called timer equals new. And we're going to close that off right there. Then we're going to come under our initialize component, and we're going to create the timer.tick event. So timer.tick plus or equals, and then this is going to be a new event handler, and we're going to name this ourselves to timer_tick. Then we just want to set the timer.interval equals new time span. And if you would like me to go further in depth in this, leave some comments in the comment section below and we can go over this. But if you just hover over it, it'll tell you it's like int days, hours, minutes, and seconds. So we have it for seconds right here, which is 1 second. And then what we want to do is we want to put the timer.start. Alright, so now let's create the method for this. And now we have the timer tick event implemented. So in this timer tick event, we want to put RPB CPU. Oh, let me go back to right here. .value equals, and then we're going to cast that to an int, and it's going to be perf CPU dot next value, like so. And then let's just come over here, and what we're going to do is we are going to add a label. Okay, so let's add a label to this right here. We're going to bring it down, and I'm just going to do just some basic. We're going to put the foreground as blue for the text, and then we're just going to bring the text up, let's say 22, let's go 36. Alright, so, and then we're just going to expand this out to like that. And then we're going to give this a name, xname, LBL, CPU, %, like so. Okay, so now when we come over here, we can do LBL CPU %.text. See, .content equals, you can use a label or you can use a text block. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a text block. So let's just come over here and let's just change this to a text block like so. Come over here, and then we're going to put text equals, and then now we're going to concatenate plus, and then just kind of space that out a little bit, and then this is going to be RPB CPU dot value dot toString. Then we're just going to do a plus, bring that out, then plus, and then we're going to do one more, put a %, and then we're going to close it off like that right there. Okay, now if everything has worked correctly, then we should have everything pretty much set with this. Let's see what the let's build it real quick. Content was not found. All right, so we need to take this content out right there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to build the solution. Succeeded, and we're going to start it. And if everything worked correctly, which is I am pretty sure that it has, you see that we have the circular progress bar in the CPU. All right, so that is how you do the circular progress bar in the CPU. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and be sure to read the description because there may be some things that you don't know about. And also, if you like the tutorial, hit that like button, and if you want to join the Camp Nerd family, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you can get some pretty cool tutorials like this. All right, until next time, I will see you guys in the next tutorial. And as always, keep it nerdy.